Okay, we're back. It's good to be back. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Every single reviewer is going to say, at least the ones I've already read reviews for, this is the Indian John Wick movie, right? And they're generally from people who have never seen any, Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood, any other Indian action movie. But what I like about this movie is that this movie knows that, and it even references that in this movie. Hey, buddy, you like John Wick? You want the gun from the movie? I gotta give the movie props for just flat out saying what this movie is inspired by. So, thumbs up there. But the question still remains, does this movie suck, or is it worth a watch? Hey guys, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and I saw Monkey Man a few days ago, and I'm here to give you my honest thoughts, passing by all that agenda, BS politics, gatekeeping. None of that stuff is in this review here. Here's my open, honest thoughts of the movie, and I want you guys to share yours down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And a giant thank you and shout out to our sponsor, Into the AM. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. They're comfortable, lots of great designs. They fit all different body sizes. I'm 250, 6'8". They fit me perfectly. Go check them out. Link is down below for 10% off as well. As far as the story goes though, this is a very simple revenge story. Little boy has some trauma, and of course he uses that as fuel to get revenge later on in life, and he's a lot more physically attuned to his surroundings. Is that the right word to say? He's a badass, basically. He's boxing and he's determined. And when a main character is determined for their goal, you want to see them succeed, even though, of course, it's murder. So there's nothing new here. We've seen this story before in thousands of other movies, but like I say in almost every other review where we have a similar story, I don't really care about that. There's only so many stories you can tell anyway. It's how you tell the story. It's that fresh coat of paint, it's that unique twist to it, and it's your take on it, talking about the director. That's what makes it stand out, and Dev Patel does have a very unique, he puts his own stamp on it, let's say that. Now what does that look like exactly? Well, this story really parallels the Hanuman God story with Dev Patel's character, who doesn't actually have a name, by the way. And I like how we hear that story being told like a bedtime story to the young Dev Patel, and that story is basically mimicked, with some artistic liberty thrown in there. Artistic licensing, some adaptive changes. I don't exactly know how to say it, but they changed the story a little bit to kind of fit in with the narrative. But it was nice to see, and it was nice to, keep seeing the callbacks to there were some old paintings of the story, like in a children's book. So yes, we've seen the poor versus the rich revenge storyline, justice needs to be served, but seeing it in an Indian god context, I haven't seen that many Indian movies before, and yes, this is more of a Hollywood movie set in India, but seeing that was a nice treat. Now, speaking about John Wick, the motivation in that movie, at least the first one, is that these bad guys, I guess spoiler alert, killed his puppy, and his puppy represented his lost wife. And he was an ex-hitman, so he wants to go on this revenge-fueled bloodbath journey. It's simple and it's effective, but I like that this movie didn't just do the exact same thing. Right? So basically, there's these bad guys, things happen to him when he was a child, and he wants to take revenge for it. Simple, right? But I like how they actually add in a little bit more of his personal growth and how his trauma has affected him, and his relationship with it evolves through the movie. That's what really fascinates me. Oh my gosh. That's what really fascinated me the most. More than just the action sequences, like it's an action movie, let's just see a bunch of punching and killing. We'll get to that. But the character journey is what I really got out of this movie. And it was kind of a, surreal moment in the theater, and I'll get into that too. So basically what I'm trying to say is that his motivation doesn't really change throughout the movie. He still wants to right the wrongs of his past life. But instead of being a slave to his past traumas, like I believe most of us are, a lot of us have gone through bad things in our past, and that has really changed the way that we are. In this movie, he remembers his true character, his true soul before those events happened. And those events really kind of put him on a path that almost forgot who he was. So instead, his trauma was making him look for pain, right? You see him in the trailer, he's wearing this monkey mask and he is, boxing, and he wants to feel the pain, right? He's almost looking for it. But instead, as it changes, he uses it as a tool. And I won't explain how they do that, but there's a section in the movie where it gets almost experimental, very visually interesting. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see. This is really different. And I wish we got more of that style, but the fact that we even got it in the first place is a thumbs up. I think that, the filmmakers were thinking, okay, we can't get too crazy with it. We don't want to turn into some pretentious film school project. Can't go completely artistic and stylized with it, but they do a little bit. And I'm glad that they did it. And because the character doesn't have a name, I honestly think that that makes it a lot easier to get on board with him, because we're able to put our own trauma onto that character and allow ourselves to overcome it with him, not to the same extent, but we see that, yes, our past traumas can be used as tools going forward, and we don't have to be slaves to them. In the theater, when this scene was happening, I was actually thinking about the things that happened to me when I was younger that I've been trying to get over for a long time. And I was even thinking, going, you know what? These things don't have to hold me back anymore. Now, I'm not saying that this movie can just replace your therapist with, dealing with your past issues or your past demons. And I'm not saying that I had to endure the same kind of pain that Dev Patel's character did. But when you do sit in the theater and you think about your own life and you come out a different person, I think that's what movies are supposed to do. Even if a movie just gives you an amazing time, you're like, I've changed now because of that movie. I wasn't just bored the entire time. This movie does that. So again, another plus. Now, the nitty-gritty. This is an action movie. Lots of brutality, and for the most part, it's very good. A lot of the stunts that this movie shows us, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is on the level of John Wick, of course. Every review is going to say that, but it was impressive, really impressive. It was really engaging and really exciting as well. And I don't necessarily have a name for this, and you guys can tell me down in the comment section down below, what is this phenomenon? My dad does it all the time. So when we watch something like The Equalizer or like an action movie like that, a Rambo, where the violence makes you wince because it's horrific, but you laugh at the same time, like, oh, that guy got screwed up. You know what I mean? Like that dad laugh, like, oh, that guy just got owned. I don't know what it's called, but many moments in this movie, I saw it with one of my old friends, and we had those moments a lot. So yeah, it's a fun time at the theater if you like violence and action and just balls to the wall, adrenaline. It's one of those types of movies. And Dev Patel, man, he was awesome in this movie. He's an actor who I wouldn't have even thought could pull off a role like this, but man, he does it because of his determination. And he does get pretty ripped for this movie too. So ladies, watch out. My girlfriend has a big Dev Patel crush, so maybe she should watch this movie too. Unfortunately, this movie has two major issues with it, and they really hold the movie back, because I was thinking about this movie on the way home, and I'm thinking about what rating to give it, and when you don't really think about the movie that much, that's an issue, and it's because of these two problems. Number one, most of the action sequences, especially early on, you can't tell what's happening. There's a lot of shaky cam, and so much so that 6 people walked out of my theater, and they were the press screenings too. 6 people walked right out of it, and I'm going, that's a bad sign. And even with me, when I'm watching movies, I'm generally invested the whole time. Even when a movie's boring, I can, say, okay, well, I'm bored, but I'm still paying attention to what's happening. I had to mentally check out there for a few moments where I was just thinking about my job. I was thinking about what food I was going to eat later. I literally mentally checked out of the movie because I couldn't understand what was happening. It was so disorienting. That's an issue. The action later on gets a bit better, but at first you're like, I don't know about this. Secondly, the pacing. There are many scenes in this movie where I don't think we learn any new information, and I'm just going, okay guys, let's move along. This movie is like 2 hours long. It feels a lot longer. You didn't need it to be 2 hours long. An hour and a half tops could have really worked. There were so many scenes where I'm like, nothing new is happening. We know this stuff already, and we know what scene is coming next, but it's just delayed. It's just delayed. The scenes aren't necessarily funnier, they're just put in there just to be fun, kind of support the tone that this movie's trying to portray. Like there's a relationship with like this dog outside, and I guess that we see that he's a lot more caring to the less fortunate, but we knew that already, and this goes on for like 4 different scenes, and I'm going, this doesn't, elevate the story, this doesn't move anything forward. There is this like side plot about this election that's going on, and it turns out that the person involved is the person involved in the trauma in the past of Dev Patel's character, and it's like, maybe we could support that a little bit more, just a tad. The pacing, I did feel bored for about 30 minutes in the middle of the movie, and that's a pretty big chunk. So those are 2 big problems with the movie that I'm like, I can't give this movie a higher rating, and I can't sit here and go, you guys gotta see this movie. And I really want that to happen, right? I love going to a movie and being shocked and surprised and excited and just floored by it, that I can come home and sit in front of a camera and go, guys, you gotta see this movie. Monkey Man, I would say if you want to see it on a cheap Tuesday, or see it on a matinee, or wait to see it at home. But with that being said, I still give this movie a 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I'm glad that I saw it, but I don't know when the next time I will be seeing this. I'm not going to be thinking, I gotta watch Monkey Man again. If one of my friends says, let's watch it, you know, I might agree, but I'm not going to be the one to suggest it. Let's say that. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Monkey Man. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. If you like this video and you want to see more, hit like and subscribe. I want to plug in my Patreon as well. We do monthly movie nights. We do 2 a month. It's like a movie club, like a book club. We all pick a movie to watch together. We all watch it together on stream. We have a great time. There's giveaways. It's a lot of fun. Link is down below. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.